you haven't caught up, I'm sure the panel informed you, this is a very tough match for Virtus.pro because if they lose this game against IG, then they will be in a tiebreaker against OG to see which one of the two of them is going to be ending up in that top 4 slot for their group, and as a result, whether or not they're in the upper bracket or lower bracket. So Virtus.pro really need to come out strong here in this game number 2, and they're facing something they've already seen from game number 1. Invictus Gaming, they picked up a Bobica Monkey King in game number 1, and it was certainly a bit of a surprise, and it turned out to be very strong. VP are going to try and counterpick it this time with the Darkseer Sven.
I really like the kind of aggressive potential that the Darkseer Sven gives you. I also think that Darkseer naturally is really cool to have against Batrider because he's a team fight kind of hero that builds mech naturally, transitions into Guardian Greaves later on, buys pipe, all items that are phenomenal against Bat when you want to try to be able to get in, save. You have this Ion Shell plus Surge that you can put on the Sven that enables him to be able to deal damage inside of the fights and kind of just wreak havoc. So kind of happy to see Virtus.pro open with a more kind of aggressive duo. This time they take out the Night Stalker as well, which you and I spoke about this on the other stream, is the Night Stalker Batrider together is a terrifying duo because not only do you have such great vision control, but you also kind of give yourself that initiation. So VP not allowing Invictus Gaming to kind of get that combo going for themselves. But I really feel like last game, it was like really close, and then one Roshan fight later, it seemed like Virtus.pro just could not win the game anymore.
Yeah, it was definitely IG's lineup. They sort of hit a certain kind of peak off of that Roshan fight. They got the Aegis for themselves, and they just started running over Virtus.pro before the Troll could get to his like big late game status. We also had like this really good counter pick from IG. Q actually drafted himself a last pick Winter Wyvern that completely destroyed the Legion Commander as well as the Troll lineup that Virtus.pro had. This time around, Virtus.pro, maybe they're opting, maybe they're thinking a little bit the same way that, hey, like supports last pick are not actually that terrible, right? They can actually be sick last picks that counter the whole entire strategy of the enemy team. So they already have 2 cores out there on the field. Well, IG have what is presuming to be our off lane and our 4 position, but again, I think Monkey King and Batrider do have that versatility where they can switch things around.
I think that's why, you know, PPD back at TI7 gave Q so much credit as a drafter, just saying this guy knows what he's doing, and I think that last pick Winter Wyvern kind of speaks volumes about that. But in regards to last picking a support, I think a lot of it has to do with if you see a huge flaw in what the enemy team has, like the single target oriented damage that VP had in the last game that was all physical damage, and they have this huge physical DPS scaling between the Troll and the Legion Commander, then yeah, the last pick support is going to crush because you can kind of solve a ton of problems with one hero. I don't know how often you really see that. I mean, sure, your last pick's always going to be good because it's last pick and you see every single hero on the board. But I think that was kind of a standout game and what he was able to accomplish with the hero.
Yeah, it was such an impactful last pick that we don't normally see, particularly from a support. Just destroy a lineup like that. Virtus.pro, they're going to go for the silencer here. You could kind of see the combination that IG are going to be leading towards. The Batrider goes out, grabs somebody, pulls them back. The Monkey King will come forward, throw down his ultimate. So then you've got this hero that's pulled into the middle of the Monkey King ultimate and kind of zones any sort of recovery team. You know, the rest of the enemy team can't really funnel in and save that hero that got lassoed back. So if they do go for that lasso, now we have the silencer to be able to throw out that global silence and stop any follow-up to that initiation.
I'm kind of wondering, though, in the laning phase, silencer seems really great for the reasons that you just described, like being that awesome kind of off button for after the lasso coming out. But what does he do in the lanes? Because he's up against a Batrider in the off lane, presumably the Monkey King roaming around on Bobica for the 2nd game in a row. I think a lot of the times when you pick silencer, you need either some kind of really hard form of initiation where you're the one abusing the global silence, or you need to have some kind of, okay, we're going to counter initiate after we see one spell come out. And I guess that's kind of what the Batrider is in this scenario, but I'm kind of feeling like there needs to be something extra on Virtus.pro to kind of force things going their way. And they really need that hero that can just go in and make stuff happen. And Sven needs time before he can do that. You know, he needs the Blink Dagger, presumably BKB, and the later the game goes, you know, you're looking at Troll Warlord again, this time with the Monkey King. That combination ain't too bad either.
So what kind of 4 positions are left that really give you that kind of initiation? We have the Night Stalker out, there's Earth Spirit out there, Clockwork, not really feeling either one of those too heavily.
I think Earth Spirit would be better than Clock, just because you can abuse the Ion Shell a bit more, and you have something that forces some kind of pressure on the map. I guess the alternative is you try to greed it a little bit, and just play a slower paced game, and hope that you can get your Sven timing and hit it hard enough to where the Troll doesn't have time to reach that critical mass that I think that VP were trying to shoot for in Game 1 when they themselves were the ones running the Troll Warlords. So we'll see the path that VP take. I'm not sure if they're the kind of guys who play a game like that and say, all right, let's be less aggressive. I mean, that's kind of the purpose of the Darkseer, I feel, is just enabling your other heroes to just go in. But they definitely need something that benefits from Ion Shell. I think like it's a waste to pick Darkseer, and there it is. There's the hero.
Spirit Breaker, Darkseer, that's a classic duo.
This is the run at you, I have Ion Shell, I have like the highest effective health pool against physical damage of any hero in Dota, and I'm gonna have an Ion Shell. So good luck. This is really good against Monkey King as well, because as soon as you spot him out once, doesn't matter if you get to a tree or not, you know, you're still gonna get knocked off and you're gonna get stunned. So it solves a lot of issues I think that they had, and it's good supplement with the Silencer, who I was kind of voicing my concern of, all right, what does he do in the laning phase?
Right. I'm still a little bit concerned, though, because if the Spirit Breaker is going to be playing with the Darkseer, then you have a Sven Silencer duo sitting at top. What if they just Monkey King Batrider, like we kind of hypothesized could happen from last game for IG? Like, what if they just do that kind of cancerous, sticky Napalm plus Jingu Mastery run at you?
But do you feel... I personally feel like Spirit Breaker Darkseer could threaten kills a bit more unless Virtus.pro are careless. I think that the way that dual lane kills people on Invictus Gaming is that you get too many sticky stacks on you and you get tower dove. If that happens, you can TP to it and such, but if Spirit Breaker Darkseer are running at you and you get charged, I think it kind of happens a lot faster, and it's harder to deal with if you don't have reliable forms of stun. I suppose this is going to be the support clock coming in from Invictus Gaming. Amazing against SB. Stops kind of all of his momentum. You can pop a battery assault, one hit's all you need, stops the charge. You can cog as well to try to like cut his retreat path off. There's a lot of things you can do with the hero, and I think more than anything, all Invictus Gaming really need to do with it is just make sure it's wherever the Spirit Breaker is.
Yeah.
And then you can't really go in.
Just counter his movements. Later on to the mid game, we have a hard initiation factor where he can go and jump the Silencer and maybe force premature global silences. Maybe they can even get the lasso initiation in one, hook shot on another sort of situation as well. I think that you really want that kind of hard form of initiation and lockdown when you have this troll who just wants to beat on people during that BKB timing. They do still need a mid on both sides, it looks like. We could have some switcheroos, who knows, Troll could mid, Silencer could mid, but most likely, last pickups at, last ban, Lina. We don't really see a whole lot of Lina right now. Most of the time it's the Queen of Pain and Puck who are the favored intelligent mids.
5 seconds remaining.
I guess to be honest, I feel like they could just kill Lina, because they have a Spirit Breaker already.
Yeah.
Don't you kind of think that maybe Queen... I don't know if it necessarily fits IG's lineup more, but I think, okay, they're just going to go ahead and take it out themselves. There's a lot of mid bans this game.
Is it too greedy to go Invoker here for IG, or
I think
like
Invoker is pretty solid, because you can just cold snap the SB if he ever charges mid.
Yeah, and you've got an Exort builds eventually will allow you to get kills off the Clockwork and Batrider setup.
Yeah, it's a solid idea. I'm with that. I'm always a fan of watching some Invoker Dota.
Ooh, Necrophos instead. Necrophos against Sven and Darkseer, some high HP heroes. What does he do against the Silencer though? Is he gonna build Guardian Greaves or something in this game?
Well, he is the only one on the team who realistically would build that, so I don't think it's out of the realm of possibility. I guess the other idea is that potentially, I don't know if they want to swap lanes. Like, what do you think's more ideal? Having the Necrophos up against the Darkseer lane, because there's going to be so much pressure there that you want the sustain, and put the Troll mid? Or do you want to put the Troll up against the Darkseer?
Oh, it's a no-one Silencer. It is a mid Silencer. So I think that answers our question. You don't want Necrophos against that.
Right.
You want Troll against the Silencer. So Burning is going to have to play the safe lane Necrophos against the Spirit Breaker Darkseer duo, with Q protecting him on Clockwork. But they're playing a Nyx Assassin against Necrophos. That feels really bad. Nyx Assassin against Batrider and Necrophos. It feels like the same as the Winter Wyvern last pick support, where it countered both the Legion Commander and the Troll.
Yeah, this is a great Nyx game. No question about that. He might feel a tiny bit weaker once BKB is out on the field, but man, Necro does not like buying BKB.
No,
It feels super bad, especially up against a Sven when you can't Ghost Shroud and you're just getting beaten to death by a giant glowing sword. Well, we'll see what happens. I'm kind of thinking the draft is a bit more even this time around. Gonna have to see how the lanes play out. How much can this Spear Breaker Darkseer combination really accomplish against the position 4 Clockwork that we're going to be seeing here? Or I guess 5 since it's Q playing it.
So how are these lanes going to play out? I think IG still have the slight advantage of the laning phase. With some of these heroes, Necrophos and Troll should both be able to farm pretty well.
The advantage in the sense that they, like, Virtus.pro might not be able to abuse their Spirit Breaker as much as they want to.
Yeah.
I think that's going to be the true test. How much can Solo accomplish on the SB? How much are they going to be able to abuse the Ion Shell combination of these two very durable heroes?
IG are going to be running this Clockwork Bat Rider. At least they're going to show them bottom to start. And Bobica is going to be helping to zone for the Necrophos against the Darkseer. I guess that makes a bit more sense. I mean, you could just kind of man-fight the Darkseer even against Ion Shell because of Jingu Mastery. Clockwork has better catch, but Necrophos doesn't give you any real good kill power in that regard. If you had like some sort of stunning sort of hero, then the Clockwork catch with the cogs against the Ion or the Surge could be really valuable, but
I mean, Bobica's already taken like half his health and damage, so he's going to be forced to run around here. No one with the level 1 Glaives of Wisdom. Super good stuff. Lots of damage. But I think no matter how the lanes kind of shape up, if it's the Monkey King or the Clockwork supporting a lane, Solo's going to have a difficult time really getting in and getting a kill. Maybe he just has to settle for dealing some damage and just forcing maybe some of IG's other supports to move around. That would probably be the best thing I think he can do unless Invictus Gaming are getting a little bit out of position.
Nice deal from Pasha. Gives Virtus.pro the 3 bounty runes and gets him a little bit closer to the what's the item that builds from Mango? Lost my
Soul Ring?
Soul.
Yeah. That's the only item that builds from Mango.
Bobica. He's hoping to be able to get damage on Darkseer now before he gets to his level 2, while mid is going very well for no one against OP. He's got Solo to back him up, of course.
Well, this is definitely...
Jingu picked up for Bobica.
Oh, what a cog!
Nice pick.
Hold him back.
Ramsey's going to be taking a lot of damage for all these right clicks, plus the sticky napalm. He almost dies to that.
I am very surprised he did not commit to that. He knows that Lil has mana burn. There was no impale. He could have very easily just walked forward, got one more. Oh, I guess he had stick charges. Okay, that's why he didn't commit.
Yeah.
Still, though, that vacuum cog, that was insane. He was like 250 range away. He just got pulled in.
So Lil's idea is just to burn out the Bat Rider of sticky napalm mana. And failing that, at least he won't be able to Firefly. So this feels like a really good way to kind of neuter the Clockwork Bat Rider duo. And ultimately, Darkseer is still going to be fine as a solo. He doesn't require the Spear Breaker up at the top lane with him to start, because Solo's kind of spending more time zoning out the Troll Warlord, making sure no one wins his mid lane.
I think it's a good solution for Virtus.pro. They know that Pasha's probably not going to die. He can always recover. Got Ion Shell middle lane.
Body blocking as best he can, Solo. And now they actually have the silencer slow as well. If he manages to get a bash, they might be able to charge him underneath the tower. They're just going to right-click him to death. So no one is the one to pick up the first blood.
+2. Let's do this. I think that that kind of answers the question, right? Like, how does Solo really find something in the game? He waits to see both of the supports of IG kind of accounted for and in some kind of situation where they can't necessarily help, like either out of mana or not full health, and then as soon as he spots that, he goes for a kill.
Yeah. What's that Radiant scan there? Yes, OP is definitely in the mid lane. Good
Found
call.
him. Found him, boys.
Courier on courier action. Monkey King is going to try and snipe the courier before that 3-minute mark, and it looks like he should be successful too. Pop out, turn into the real Monkey King, and boop. That is the boots, as well as the Null Talisman, taken away from no one. That is a huge loss.
Well, that first blood is now just nullified for the next couple of minutes while that courier respawns. That gives OP a little sigh of relief. So charge comes in here on Bulbaka.
Solo is level 2, and he's going to have Pasha here if he gets the bash. And it's Solo! No. Couldn't get that final swing off.
Spirit Breaker's attack animation is abysmal. Super bad.
It certainly is. Ramsey's going to be slowed down here, but there goes the mana again. XXS does always have a mango, so if he does get enough sticky napalm stacks, he could pop the mango and still go for the Firefly play.
Yeah, the all-in potential is definitely there. The top lane, though, is kind of what I'm looking at right now. There is only 4 CS on Pasha. Like, that is super low for a Darkseer at 3 minutes into the game, 3.5 minutes even.
Destroy Venus now. It's only going to get worse. Once you get to like level 5, you have so much sustain. The next books can span out Death Pulse quite a lot. Cogs is going to push him back at the bottom lane. Solo joins and makes a full tri-lane. But melee tri-lane is not too menacing against a Bat Rider. Still gonna try and charge, and they actually go for the charge of the Bat Rider while they have Q in. He managed to get the Cogs up, but he still ends up dead. Lil is stuck inside of those Cogs, though. With the Bat Rider over the top, he is going to be able to burn down one. Bulbaka also got the Jingu Mastery stack, so he's going to be able to hit the stun, and Solo's just going to take so much damage. There's no mana for the escape. IG managed to pick up the double.
Mid as well. No one going for the Ancient Deny.
Ancient Deny, Fairy Fire plus the Ancient Deny. It's not going to happen. OP's taking all the Ancients. He hides himself in the trees, but to no avail. Lil gets on top of OP, but very low damage nukes. He even has the regen rune, so gets mana burned immediately. Pasha's here. Pasha has an Ion Shell in 1 second time. Solo can stay on top of him here with the Cogs. Oh, no! OP's! He's on the wrong side of it. They're going to have to run him down underneath the tower here, but the Impale lands. Makes it look easy for VP. They do kill the Troll Warlord. Get vengeance for their fallen silencer.
Just put him on a platter for Virtus.pro there. Just completely blocked him off. Poor guy. I think he would have lived. Even if the Clockwork just didn't hit Cogs, he was walking up into high ground. Not entirely sure if they would have had the tools necessary to continue to chase that. Little unfortunate there from IG. Good kill, though.
I'm not sure how many times Q has actually played Clockwork, especially in competitive games.
That was like...
most of the time, that would be Bulbaka's play.
That was super optimistic, using the Cogs like that. He was very, very far away. But nonetheless, you know, every once in a while you make a mistake. You got to keep playing the video game we like to call Dota 2. So, only a 1K net worth lead right now. A little bit more, I guess, for IG. The big winner here is Burning. 36 and 17 right now. Highest CS in the game by a wide margin. Still managing to keep Pasha completely out of the lane. 7 creep kills at 5.5 minutes for a Darkseer. That is incredibly shut down in lane.
XXS is being targeted by Solo with an Ion Shell on him. Bulbaka's here, though. He can get a stun off on 2 if he wants to. The man is playing all 3 stuns on XXS. Last minute, he throws down the Monkey King stun. Finished off Solo. Ramsey dives into the tower to get the kill, but Bulbaka is handling both of the supports right now. He's going to get a fresh Jingu Mastery stack here in a second. Lil. The Stormhammer comes just in time, and they have the Impale up for Lil. Bulbaka, he can pick up Primal Spring, though. He can jump into the trees and see if he can find Lil somewhere in the back lines. He's going to lay down a ward underneath the tower and start prancing about in the trees.
Oh, he's dead.
Yeah, Lil's going to be spotted.
1 4.
Oh! Get the
stun!
Lil! He's at 150 HP. That's not a whole lot for Bulbaka. What? Oh, no. He didn't have the vision. He's going to have to pop out. Misses out on the kill.
In the jungle as well. Solo running away here.
Q with a double damage with a battery assault on top of Solo. He plays the ring around the rosy with a tree. Ramses pops the war cry, but it's a bit too late. IG will dive after him. I don't think they want to dive the tower against a war cried Sven.
Not just yet. I just want to... might not have time. XXS is down here. He wants blood.
Dives. More. Ramsey's going to go for the TP out, but stopped by the long range Monkey King. Boundless strike, and Lil's also going to be caught. Charge.
IG just going ham here. I just wanted to quickly point out Bulbaka changing up his skill build from game 1 to game 2. This time around, recognizing the amount of melee heroes there are and just like the want to trade right clicks, he's opted to put the bonus points into Jingu Mastery. Super value this game. It's what allowed him to kind of chase and get that bonus kill earlier bottom when Virtus.pro were committing near the tower. I really like the, I guess, foresight, knowing how this game is going to play out and altering his skill build accordingly.
between Burning free farming and this aggression from IG working out so well, in fact, Bulbaca's even going to take the tower. Virtus.pro going to have to hit one hell of a mid-game swing to turn this game around.
This is crazy that this tower's already hit. It's not even 8 minutes. They've lost that tower. Their Darkseer and the Sven have the same CS, and it's 18 at 8 minutes. I don't think I've ever seen Ramses have this little farm.
The Sven Darkseer opening. It's not faring Virtus.pro so well. 11 for a level 4 Sven. 8 minutes.
It's a 3K net worth lead.
I mean, they're going to have no real good control of their ancients at this rate because they're losing their towers so rapidly that Sven may not even be able to get that kind of a recovery.
Yeah, this is definitely worrisome for VP. Fortunately, they have the kind of heroes where if you walk around and smoke like this, you abuse the Ion Shell still. They can kind of be carried by the fact that Ion Shell is really super strong at this stage in the game, and they have good heroes at kind of abusing it. Bringing the Spirit Breaker along for the ride here.
You're going to go up to top lane, see if they can catch Burning. Now, Burning did go for the Hand of Midas, and he hasn't actually picked up the cloak. Hasn't gone for the Hood of Defiance, so he may actually just be bursted down by the double Ion Shell plus the control offered by Lil. This is such an imperative for Virtus.pro.
Smoke's off. The creeps are going to see him.
All right, they're going to be able to get the charge on Burning anyway. So that's going to be able to set up the stun from Lil, plus the Mana Burn. He actually pops the Ghost Shroud. That just means more damage from the Mana Burn and the Ion Shell, so he does end up going down. They managed to pop the Global Silence too, just to make sure he didn't get healed during that Ghost Shroud time. It was actually the ideal scenario. Pops Ghost Shroud, takes extra magic damage, but doesn't get to use the Death Pulse.
Yeah, perfectly timed there from no one. Good synergy. That kill was so needed. Imagine if that smoke missed. How bad of a position that Virtus.pro would be in right now.
Yeah, I mean, they wasted, there was like full 30, 40 seconds of them running around as 3 heroes just to get one big kill.
Well, they got the high priority target, took down Burning. His Midas was off cooldown when he died too. Still not really been able to use it. It's a big win. Burning perhaps thinking about going towards middle lane with that TP. He does have Reaper available.
It looks like he's going to go for the Rod of Atos. Be a nice way to stop the Spirit Breaker from running at him. Give them some extra catch as well. XXS, he's going for the same build he did last time. So double Bracer into Blink Dagger into maybe a Rod of Atos later. No drums.
Yeah, the Atos is an interesting choice. I think it's a philosophy of being super tanky, being able to last long in the fights, get a ton of stacks in Napalm. You don't really care so much about pulling people away if you can just have the Firefly dealing damage for an extended period of time. And you can also just root, the Spirit Breaker if he's like charging in or something like that. You can root the Darkseer. No Dispel in sight here for Virtus.pro in this early game stage.
Now, Virtus.pro, they don't have Global Silence up for another 30 seconds, but when they do have that, I think they need to go for one of those kind of like overwhelming ganks. 3-man gank on somebody. Lil's pretty close to his level 6, so that would help out quite a lot. And our Spirit Breaker, he's level 4. No boots yet either. Oh, man.
I mean, he got
Magic Wand, but
he's been a part of 2 pretty important kills, I would say. But we knew this was going to be a hard Spirit Breaker game.
Yeah.
Just because of the fact that the Monkey King and the Clockwork both. This support pairing is not very common because one of them is usually supposed to be the one making the moves, in this case the Monkey King, but they're both melee. Typically you have one ranged hero and one like position 4 that is melee that runs around. But because of the SB, just kind of standing in a lane stops Pin from doing what he wants to do. It's being behind a core.
IG have level 6 on the Clockwork, so they're going to try and put some pressure on mid, see if they can catch the No One Silencer, who's really the only threat on the network chart right now. He's sitting at 4,500 now. Necrophos at 5k. Going to go for the early Force Staff. Makes sense against the Clockwork.
It's a level 6 Clock too. He's got those phase boots. His team's pushing mid. They will be able to see pretty much any movement coming out from VP. Really great warding this game.
Maxed out Primal Spring. VP start chopping down trees. Lil didn't have anything though. Secondary Psalm. At this point, actually, Burning Team's up side build looks like Dual Scepter instead. this hero is still going to be super susceptible to the Nyx assassin. So like, he's picked up a whole lot of gold. I'm really concerned that he doesn't go for even just the basic cloak right now. You can see he's going to be gone on here by Virtus.pro. See if he can turn it around in time. Global Silence goes out. They just need a couple more right clicks, and they do manage to get that kill. IG will try to turn around here. They're going to be able to hit the hook shot onto Lil, lock him inside the cog with the battery assault. VP start loading up on ion shells between both Pasha and Solo, but they realize they can't really fight this one. IG are just a bit too big, especially with Bobica now joining the fight as well. But a worthy trade-off for Virtus.pro for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. That kill also gets Solo level 6, so the next time they make that commitment, it will be even easier to kill Burning. And Solo could be paying with his life here, but it's still worth it.
They don't have battery assault, so he could charge out. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
Charge away.
Still on cooldown from the little bit of a skirmish earlier.
Yeah, and he didn't have mana on Q. It was actually the battery assault nerf right there. That extra 25 mana. It doesn't sound like a whole lot, but Clockwork does have a pretty low mana pool and uses all of his abilities a lot when he goes for these kills. So you have to realize just one combo kind of puts you out of commission for a while.
Yeah, exactly. Lil, another Ion Shell gank here.
Does manage to land the stun onto XXS, the follow-up charge. Easy kill for Virtus.pro. I am surprised given the gigantic lead that IG had in the beginning. They're beginning to turn things to their favor. They're only 1k behind right now. Solo puts himself in the trees, looking to charge out. Q sees him, but a little bit too late.
That was a nice attempt. Meanwhile, in the woods, Ramses.
Bramble Spring does a lot of damage to Leasing top. Birdie's going to be able to get here with the Reaper's Sight, and they do manage to get that kill. The TP in from Pasha won't be able to fight this one at all on top of the shrine. Bobica is hit by the last word. He's not going to be able to jump anywhere, so it looks like he's just going to have to sacrifice his life to the ancients he stole away.
Still worth it trading Bobica for the Sven. That's really what you want, I think. Ramses has done a really good job, though, at recovering. Like, in the beginning of the game, he wasn't really getting much in the way of CS, and he's almost completely recovered his not-so-spectacular laning phase. And a lot of that, again, is on the back of the combination of the Nyx, the Spirit Breaker, and the Ion Shell coming in from Pasha. Just able to kill basically anybody on the map. The synergy of having a hero like Nyx plus a Spirit Breaker, you never really know when you're being charged if you don't have the ward in the charge pad.
Yeah. I think this is Virtus.pro just kind of reading like, God, these lanes suck. But they are just, it's just the laning phase, and these heroes don't really move around a whole lot. You know, the Necrophos and the Troll in particular, they're just kind of sit in their lanes and farm and farm and farm. So VP, they did such a great job with these Ion Shell ganks to be able to bring themselves back into the game. But it is still IG with a bit of a lead now and a greater lead going into the late game. I'm not sure if like Silencer Sven can actually stand up against the power of Reaper Scythe plus Troll. Because we've already seen the Troll match up against the Sven multiple times. You and I have casted plenty of those matchups. And then just add in the fact that Reaper Scythe is so valuable against the tanky Sven. It's going to be tough to beat out.
I think so as well. I mean, there is always the X factor of Wombo combo, you know, back into stun.
Oh, yeah.
If you manage to land that, I think you can definitely secure a teamfight win later on into the game. But I don't think that VP are necessarily content with just sitting around and farming either. They are definitely looking for stuff. This Nyx has been Ion Shell vendetta for a while.
Bobica is level 9. Nice pick up there on the Troll.
Easy peasy.
Turn that into a push. There are 5 groups up. I can't believe no one has only died once this whole entire time. I really thought IG would be able to put more pressure on him, but I guess the hook shot, when they did rotate over with the Clockwork, no one had backed away already, and they don't have the Blink Dagger yet on XXS. Did go for the drums. Tricked us.
Well, VP, they were the ones who were doing the aggressive moves in the side lanes more often, I feel.
Yeah.
So when they're making those moves, you're kind of saying, all right, well, you either go for the counter kill on no one in the mid lane, or you stop this aggression coming out from VP in the side lanes. And with the heroes that they've picked, I think that they wanted to play it a bit more defensive just because of how good reactionary Dota is against Spirit Breaker when you have like a Clock and a Monkey King. You can just stand behind whatever core you want to get farm, and that's okay. But because VP are the ones making the moves, I think it's less likely that no one would be focused in this type of scenario.
Yeah, and every single time they made that move, right, we've seen no one spend so much time in his off-lane jungle. Like, he's willing to abandon the lane. And he farms jungle pretty quickly with Blades of Wisdom now being maxed out. Virtus.pro did go for a smoke up here. They're near the top half of the map. Now they move to the right-hand side. if they can find someone from IG. A sentry laid down, but the smoke hasn't popped on Lil just yet. It'll pop now, so they see him for half a second. OP throws out the slope, but he is going to be charged up. They're going in deep into IG territory. The global silence goes off, but it doesn't stop the Yule Scepter charge. That's going to be a turnaround, though, onto the Bat Rider. A nice stun for Bulbaca, and OP, they're just going to run over Pachi. Even catching more. Nice hook shot from Q, gets the extra kill on the solo. Aggression stymied. Virtus.pro lose 2.
It was a nice idea, you know, going for the aggressive play, continuing to abuse that Ion Shell SP combo, but IG were just super prepared. Had the ward vision down. Maybe that was dropped after, now that I think about it. Yeah, it probably was. But nonetheless, that's a very dangerous spot to fight, especially considering how many different points you can teleport into if you're IG on that side.
Yeah. That was definitely one of those situations where once you kind of got popped and OP knew you were there and such, they just needed to kind of back out. Even if they did get on top of the Troll, like Troll is pretty tanky. It would take them so much commitment, so deep in to be able to get that one kill. They'd be like guaranteed trade.
Yeah, I think so as well. At this stage in the game, you know, IG are starting to be able to threaten things like Roshan potentially, although I guess OP doesn't have lifesteal right now. Very uncommon to see the Troll without at least a Mask of Madness or something like that, but I guess since he was the mid in this game, he swapped up his itemization a little bit, using the bottle more for the regenerative purposes, so I guess that does kind of delay, you know, how soon they're going to be able to look at Roshan and say we can feasibly do this in a good amount of time without too much risk.
Yeah.
But Virtus.pro are in the same boat, right? They need Ramses to commit God Strength, I think, to kill it at all. And even if they do, there's a lot of vision on the side of Invictus Gaming. So if we're going to see that attempted, I think it's going to have to be around either a teamfight win or at the very least a pick.
This is a very active build that Burning choose to go for on the Necrophos. He's picked up the Yule Scepter and is now going to be going for the Blink Dagger up next.
Yeah, I'm kind of wondering myself about the Yules when there's a Nyx on the other team. I mean, sure, it does have more than one purpose, but you're putting yourself in a situation where you are super squishy. You have two items that give you basically no health whatsoever in the Blink and the Yules. The Yules makes you squishier against Nyx because you're building in. And I guess the idea is that when the Bat Rider goes in, you can kind of go with him, or if you get a hook shot, you can go in and immediately get the Reaper. And on paper, that's great. So if they get the engagements that they want, and they have the vision there, and they get the quick pick on a core with a Reaper, with a hook shot and stuff like that, then I think it definitely has potential. But he might be forced into buying a BKB with these items.
Yeah, because he doesn't have the Hood of Defiance to defend himself against that magic damage.
Right.
The Western teams have run Necrophos a lot more, and we almost always see them build Hood of Defiance as one of the first items on the Necrophos, especially since you can get a side shot. And then we've seen some builds like really greedy builds like second item Radiance and stuff like that. But all of them start with that baseline of adding protection for Necrophos against the magic damage. We've seen the effectiveness of that. Virtus.pro have gone for a kill on a Burning twice. They've just bursted him down with mostly the Nyx Assassin and the Ion Shell. But now that he's got that full Blink Dagger, they've got a lot of offensive capabilities, a lot of ways to be able to create space for OP.
Oh, the scan hits.
And there goes the Constraint. They're going to jump in. He actually goes through the stun on the Clockwork, but the Yule Scepter goes down, and that's going to stall up Ramsey's damage quite a lot. But two of these heroes trapped up on the high ground. XZ is going to go down to the right click, so no one. Bulbaca not spotted just yet. As they get the Dire Vision up on the high ground, they see all this from VP, and Bulbaca's trying to position his ultimate the best he can. So OP's going to be a target. They're trying to burst him down. Clockwork tries to run interception, but it's too late. Troll's already down. Bulbaca's going to get down. Oh, Reaper Sight is not enough. Ramsey's still alive. He's going to turn, get a little more damage onto Burning. Burning has gotten 2 kills, though, so he's full up on regen, and he's trapped no one in the corridor. Lil, he's going to be able to get the stun out. He popped down. No one is he going to survive through this. 200 HP, and that nuke is just not going to be enough. No one will live for now. Lil's managed to pick up the kill with the Ion Shell, and Burning. He blinks forward, but it's just not going to happen. Maybe if he was closer with a Heartstopper Aura, he can maybe run down no one, but...
God, what a chaotic fight that was. So the scan hits, right?
Yep.
And immediately, the first thing that the Bat Rider wants to do is he wants to find a pick. So he pops the Firefly, XXS, looking for something. What happens is, the Nyx is sitting in the front. So Lil pops the Carapace on the high ground at the top of the ramp. I think we're going to get to see it again here. Or maybe this is a little bit after. Yeah, this is after the original initiation. And then we're going to see like this counter initiation. Nice Monkey King ult coming in from Bulbaca, kind of like isolating everyone. But at this point, we see Burning blink forward, Throws out the Reaper Scythe onto Ramses, not quite enough to get the kill, but as soon as one person drops, it's really hard to just fully commit to that hero after that point because you're just getting so much regen. We'll get to see the double Pog bounce that ends up pushing the Silencer to the low ground and ultimately allows no one to live. Lasso here onto Lil.
Lil trying to contest the Roshan. IG will take that free kill and still keep on trucking. Don't think Virtus.pro can contest anymore, so VP may have been very lucky in being able to win out in that last fight thanks to no one's escape, but it is still going to be Roshan to the favor of IG.
It's just the benefit of having Troll. The hero is so good at killing Roshan. You don't need to commit any big ultimate either. I think that's the one big dynamic difference between Sven and Troll, is without cooldown, Sven is not really that scary. Player's gonna scout out no one.
Good force staff to dodge the hook shot. Still gonna be caught by sneaky napalm though. He needs a lot of TPs. He does have global silence though. So if his team gets here, he can actually fight. No one's definitely dead, but how much damage can VP do to get vengeance? Oh no, a bash on his solo stops Philipin from going out. Ramsey's gonna be able to kill the Clockwork instead. Reaper Sight has been used though. And VP, they decide not to keep going. The 3 versus 4.
Cap?
Yeah.
Why does Boboka have a Battle Fury and a Quick Buy?
Well, you know, sometimes man's just gotta go from support to core, Draskell.
I assume that's gonna be like a Lotus or something and not actually a Battle Fury, because some players just use the Quick Buy to buy like the smaller items.
Yeah. I think
it's
Lotus
just funny to see.
Especially since Burning didn't go for any defensive items, Lotus would help him out so much, especially against that global silence.
It's just kind of entertaining when you see that random item and you're like, there's no way he's really making that, right? But tower is being claimed here from the side of IG. Once again, Troll Warlord flexing his muscles with that freshly acquired Aegis in his inventory. He has a full SNY on top of this too now. And Ramses is feeling a little bit hard pressed, I think, in the team fights prior to getting that BKB to really do what he wants to do. And even then, hitting into a Necrophos who has Ghost Shroud is really tough. He's relying on his other heroes like the Nyx Assassin that we spoke about to kill.
Trying to catch the Sven out while he's farming. Does manage to get away from the 3-man gank squad of IG. It's kind of interesting, this Troll, because he's run with a sustained core with the Necrophos, he actually doesn't really need the lifesteal. So he's come online so much faster than the other Trolls that we've seen. He just kind of goes for an earlier BKB, now is the completed SNY.
I think that this build works because of the Necrophos, but at the same time, he's also not going to farm as fast. He's more of the team fight oriented Troll. He just wants to go in.
The lasso initiation on the solo. Warstrike goes out from Ramsey. He's trying to help him out. He's actually going to be hook-shotted here, so IG are going to try and get +1 after they finish off solo, who does end up dying here. Q keeps on moving forward, trying to catch more VP, but Ramsey's managed to blink himself backwards. No one goes out the Rod of Atos, and without a stun, no one is going to be able to make the escape. They're actually TPing Lil in here, while Ramsey's and the other core TP out. Pasha vacuum and a surge away. Nice play. Pasha defending himself, or maybe not. Long range hit from Monkeys. Boundless strike. OP will manage to pick up the dominating.
Cap, why does Boboka have a Claymore in his inventory?
You know, Draskell, sometimes the support's just gotta turn into a core.
I love it. I absolutely love it. A lot of damage being dealt here to OP. Still has the Aegis though, and of course the Black King bar as well. I just really did not expect him to buy the entire item. I guess when you're taking fights this effectively at this stage in the game, you know, Monkey King can still transition into somewhat of a right-click core. It's not completely awful. It's just very unexpected.
It only gets better from here, Draskell.
Does he just go like the full damage YOLO build? Like show me an MKB, get your Echo Saber?
Yeah, man, because they're not going to be targeting you, right? You know, you're going to be coming in late with your jump in and ultimate after your team's already kind of initiated Clockwork and Bat Rider. Just go full damage.
If you think about it though, in some weird universe, it kind of makes sense because your ultimate gives you so much armor now.
Yep.
That you don't have to itemize against predominantly right-click damage if that's what you're worried about, because the level 2 ultimate gives you 14 armor.
Yeah.
So you can just kind of stand there.
And he can afford to go for a little bit greedier items because OP went for so much team fight on this Troll. Like, he came online a lot faster, but he's not going to peak as well later on to the game. But Monkey King will peak a lot better later on to the game as a support while having a little less effectiveness now.
I think the other observers are starting to realize what we have realized some time ago. They're like, what is going on? But it's Boboka. Guy's a legend.
Yeah, Bobo Monkey, man.
Can buy whatever he wants. So at this stage in the game, IG have a pretty good grasp of the map. Like they can just pretty much move wherever they want as long as they have the utilization of that Aegis on OP. They're looking for the last tier 2 right now. I don't know if they're going to be able to necessarily crack a Rax, but I think that tier 3 is a possibility right now. Especially given the fact that they are the ones who have the Batrider. And that hero, just like one quick pick, boom, Rax is dead because you have Troll.
Yeah, got the Diffuse of Blade on Troll. That'll stop any real good escape from these heroes either. No Surge or attack to you. You've got Rod of Atos and Hurricane Pike up for no one Silencer. And that is the danger for a high ground, right? Is Silencer. He's like a sniper in a way. Sits in the back lines, does a lot of right-click damage with his Glaives of Wisdom.
Yeah, he is, well, what I commonly refer to as the worst sniper.
And so wait, your ranking of snipers. Sniper is number 1, right?
In just the I sit really far away and right-click people, he is number 1. And then Silencer is like number 2, I guess. Maybe, you know,
wait, so Lone Druid isn't? Ranged Lone Druid isn't number 2?
I guess it is, but no one really does that. I guess it's been seen like, what, 1 or 2 times in the group stage? Most of the builds now revolve around the bear again.
Okay.
But then there's also, I guess, Lina would be in there.
Yeah.
Like late game Lina is
Clinks. He got that plus 60 attack range.
Yeah, Clinks is alright too.
He's like the lowest range sniper.
He is, but he also does like the most damage, I think, in the shortest time frame.
Yeah.
VP pushing into this tier 1. XXS, he gonna go in?
Yeah, he's gonna go in around 19. But there is the immediate counter. Jump forward from Lil. Does manage to get the spike. Carapace on a 2-man stun. This is really good setup, but at the same time, can they deal with the Troll? Ramsey outputting so much cleave damage. Birdie's managed to defend himself though. Turns around, gets off the Reaper's side. Doesn't actually get through the BKB though. It was still active. Ramsey's fighting on the Monkey King ult, but actually dies. Barely. Solo bumps him back as Necrophos blinks forward. Tried to get him with the Shroud, but couldn't quite catch up to him. 3 down on both sides. No one and Burning are the 2 big cores that survive through that engagement. And Solo, just by the skin of his teeth, does manage to get away from the Heartstopper aura.
Oh man, it was so close to being the Sven getting killed there. I think that Burning didn't necessarily assume that his Reaper was going to kill. I think he just wanted to stun the Sven during BKB to stop the Troll from taking damage. And the initiation, again, BP were really prepared for this. XXS goes in.
Look at that.
Very fast blink.
The spike Carapace. That was beautiful.
The vac wall was very nice. At this stage, it looked like VP were just going to completely run over this fight due to the lasso not really accomplishing much. Ramses is able to get his BKB and freely throw out his auto attacks. Bubaka's ult was pretty nice, but he just gets chunked down in the back. You can't really see the Silencer on the screen right now, but
he's getting the cleave damage, man. That Battle Fury going in.
I mean, he died really fast. I don't know if the Battle Fury was really going in there. I think it was more just, oh god, I need to do something. My team is getting massacred.
He's about to get a whole lot stronger, right? That level 3 Wukong's command gives him 6 extra armor.
But does it do anything against a Silencer?
No.
Is a Silencer...
No, not really.
Because that's the one I'm looking at and I'm thinking, that, all right, this is the one who's doing the most amount of damage during the fights because I don't have BKB.
Yeah.
So what is your counterplay? Do you go for like a Halberd perhaps? I mean, he has SNY in his quick buy, so at this point, I can't really question if he's going to buy it or not. I just have to assume he's going to buy it.
He really does need that evasion. Silencer is about to hit his level 20 plus 30 attack speed talent. It's pretty good. And then the level 25 plus 200 attack range for the right-click Silencer is a huge boon.
I'm curious to see how it kind of progresses from here on No One. Having the BKB is fantastic for pretty much every reason. Just don't want to die to Necrophos, don't want to get Reapered. You can protect yourself from the clockwork. You have 2 ways of escaping that kind of cog combination.
So if you're the Troll, right? We've seen this matchup against Sven before. Like Troll just mans up against his Sven. He does kind of win that man fight most of the time. Just scales a bit better. But is that really the most effective use of your damage? Because Sven is also so tanky. Do you think he should get like a Blink Dagger and go for the back line, see if he can attack the Silencer, who would just kind of like buckle under all that damage really quickly?
He has the Pike though. That's the concern. If you blink to the back line, there's always an escape, I think, and then what happens if you blink to the back line, a global comes out because he 4 steps away from you, and then you're kind of just isolated from the rest of your team.
Yeah.
That would feel kind of bad, I think.
So how do they get to the Silencer? What is the game plan for IG?
I think it kind of has to be like a multi-pronged initiation at the same time, like multiple blinks into the back line, or you're starting a fight in 2 different spots or 3 different spots.
And Burning saw that one. The word laid down, but Burning does have a gem, so he knows that Virtus.pro are all smoked up. And I think they had a pretty good idea, even before the ward was spotted.
And they get that ward between the tier 1 and the tier 2 down as well, so VP are going to feel a little bit hard-pressed to just walk into that tier 1. Oh, BKB on the bad. This is huge. XXS has had such a hard time, like kind of starting the fights and really getting that lasso target pulled out so that you can focus him down and move on to the next. That is going to be a game changer for him because Lil has just been crushing him in these fights. It's so hard to play against Nyx's bat prior to BKB.
Yeah, I think that's why IG are kind of fearless in their 5-man smoke right now, knowing that this BKB is guaranteed takeoff. They're going to be able to grab solo here. It's a freebie. Q tries to get the extra kill on Pasha, but this is the hook shot.
Easy peasy, didn't even have to BKB for that one. Knowing there's kind of no one in the vicinity, and that pickoff could just be Roshan attempt again. OP's already kind of walking towards that pit. They're going to have the advantage in already being here. Boboka can kind of sit on the high ground. Do VP have any wards? It doesn't look like they have vision around the pit at the moment, just one sentry.
Yeah, they've got no wards in their inventory. They really need one to put up on the high ground just to see the Monkey King.
Yeah.
Who's going to be sitting in the tree somewhere, so this is pretty rough.
Boboka's positioning. He is a tree on a tree.
And he is... Oh no, hits on Firefly! He knocked out his own Monkey King. May not matter though. The Reaper's sight that actually hits no one. They're trying to hold him in place long enough for OP to be able to get there, but he's too damn fast. And now they're turning around. Oh god, the Troll's already dead. And XXS, he's gonna pay for his sins. He's gonna be run down as well. Managed to get over the trees. Monkey King jumped forward, immediately got stunned up though. Q jumps onto no one, but a Hurricane Pike downwards. Great play from no one. He is kiting around IG entirely. Burning just getting run down by the whole of BT. They bring all that anger and fury to 4 and manage to take down the big carries of IG. Full to Troll. No one. Oh, the Rod of Atos just in time, plus the Hurricane Pike. Look at him. He's toying with them. Well, because he's gonna get run down, see if he can jump to the trees. Lil does manage to get the stone first. Has the charge. +2. Nom, 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 nom. No one. He played that fight so well. That was amazing.
So when we talked about the getting isolated and a global coming out, that's kind of exactly what happened there, I think, to the Troll Warlord. He was all on his own. OP sitting in the back trying to go for that silencer like you and I spoke about. What happens? Global comes out. He gets beaten to death by Ramses. Of course, it didn't help that XXS 5-second stunned his own Monkey King. Not once, Cap. Not one time. 2 times.
And it was such a good fight, too. It was in such a small AoE area that Monkey King ultimate would have destroyed. But I guess that's the problem with Monkey King's trickery. Turning into a tree on top of a tree. You're hiding from the enemy pretty well visually. Apparently also hiding from your allies.
That could not have gone any worse for poor Boboka. He spent like 12 seconds stunned because as soon as the second stun ended from him getting caught out of another tree, he got charge stunned. So he's just standing there this whole time watching his team die, just going, guys, I got a Battle Fury, but I can't really do anything.
Now Virtus.pro have Aegis and Cheese on the silencer. Ramses is looking pretty good too. He's gonna pick up an Assault Cuirass, and that is really gonna help out against the damage of the Troll. Troll, who is going for a Butterfly rather than a big armor item. Lil's gonna be caught here in the top lane. And a Reaper's Sight, he just adds insult to injury. 98 seconds death timer for Nyx Assassin. It's only 36 minutes in, but boy, that extra death timer, that extra 30 seconds hurts so much.
Yeah, that's definitely not what you want when you're that close to Aghanims. I mean,
these sort of picks, right? Like, in almost any other game, you would say, like, okay, they 3-man, that's just space. But with the extra death timer and the fact that Reaper's Scythe is up, it's back up before the Nyx Assassin is alive again. You can't afford those kind of picks. It just allows the enemy team to control the game so much.
I think at the same time, when you're playing as VP's lineup and you're kind of reaching this stage where you're scared of the Batrider, the multiple Blink Daggers coming out, and just a late game potential of a Troll Warlord and being able to go high ground, you kind of have to try to push the lanes a little bit.
Yeah,
and I think it's
someone to do it, right?
It's probably the lesser of evils to have the Nyx die than have someone like, you know, the Sven or no one be the hero that gets picked off. So all things considered, it could be worse. And I think that the Nyx will probably be alive before IG is really able to threaten an objective anyway, because, you know, VP don't have any towers left except for the tier 3s. And their lanes are still far enough out to where Invictus Gaming can't really do much.
Burning is all about this Blink Wombo combo play, man. got Dagon now.
It's definitely a different flavor. Traditionally, we've been seeing a lot of pipes, some team fight orientation perhaps. But this time around, I guess he's just playing around the synergy of the bat. There's nothing really harder to deal with than getting Blink initiated into just instantly dying. And I think that's the kind of potential that this combination of heroes offers you. And then if you just get rid of the one core, you have a Troll Warlord to pretty much deal with whatever's left. Clean up the remnants, I guess.
So if we reevaluate the late game potential of these two teams, it's kind of even. It's just one team has super strong team fight and will probably be able to win out in the 5v5, which is VP. And then you've got IG with the incredibly strong pick-off potential that is extra punished by the Reaper side.
Bobuka.
Run, Bobuka, run.
No way.
Charge and stops by the team. He did, and is going to be dead for 75 seconds. That means Sheep is not complete for no one. He does manage to pick up his S and Y before he dies.
But yeah, I'm totally in agreement with you in regards to how the teams play out. The 5-man, I think, will always favor VP just because later on, BKB's short duration, vac wall becomes a super strong tool again. Nick's late game is amazing in fights. Another charge going to be seen this time on Q.
What is he doing so far out here, man? That is an extra intelligence for that silencer.
Not too shabby.
+2 all day long. So they gave up tier 2 top lane push. Actually, Breach might be able to finish him off for VP back up. Get another pick. Tier 2 mid. Fight under towers. Not this tower, that's for sure.
Maybe he meant enemy towers, because that seems to be the message that Q got. But this is a strong
Whoa,
time.
burning! He's got a blink. He's good. He's good.
He has Lincolns too, just in case.
Anybody worrying? Come on.
He doesn't have buyback either, which is... I mean, obviously VP can't know that, but you, with the Aegis and the cheese, I think that you still probably want to try to do something.
Yeah.
Maybe it's, you know, go bottom and push out those tier 1 and tier 2 towers, probably the safest play. But almost to some degree, you kind of want to kill a tier 3, right? Killing a tier 3 is the huge win when you have this kind of timing where your Sven has that BKB, it's still 8 seconds, and Ramses is making way towards that level 25.
It's got to be gem time, right? For Virtus.pro. IG has had one for a little while.
I think it's harder for Virtus.pro to hold on to the gem, just because there's so much pickoff potential. But I do agree that eventually you wanna look at carrying one. I guess Lil probably takes it.
Yeah, because in the same vein of thought, right? The pickoff team, IG, are very reliant on vision to feel comfortable going for a hero and just getting that one pickoff rather than into the full 5-man fight of Virtus.pro. They're actually going for a 5-man smoke. They have a lot of vision in this area. Now, Lil is on the front line. He's going to be able to pump that smoke, and he manages to stay ahead. The global sounds goes off after the BKB, so X's initiation is completely ruined. IG, full retreat by them. Virtus.pro just need to be able to get vision on somebody for the charge, but they're not going to be able to get it.
Well, that was a free gem delivery, so you and I just spoke about VP getting one, and there it is, courtesy of Invictus Gaming's Bobuka. Well, I guess the Batrider died, but Bobuka was the one who bought the gem.
Well, our net worth lead has now been cut down from what was once 10,000 gold lead for IG to pretty much nothing.
Do they still want to fight this? Look at their positioning.
I am so surprised by this, but there is no global silence. There's no BKB on this. Oh, no, there is BKB on this. Oh, no, 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 that just leaves the 2-man stun. Oh, no, and the vacuum ball. It's all over for this fight. IG are just getting creamed by Ramses. 4 down now. Oh, my God.
That is not a single buyback. Not even one.
They chose to take that fight without buybacks. The 4 versus 5 without buybacks.
Just watch this, Cap. This is like almost a comedy reel. You didn't even see the beginning, but the carapace blink in with the burrow, use of the Aghanims after the 2-man stun into a vac wall. Good night. Invictus Gaming have absolutely no answer to that whatsoever.
I mean, there's still 40 seconds. How much does VP take you?
I think they at least get 2.
Start hitting tier
There's no
4?
God Strength. Or no, actually, it's on right now. Okay, I saw the cooldown. Yeah, he still has it on.
I bet if they went for tier 4s, they might have been able to.
Perhaps.
That'd make it a safe play.
I think this is the safe play.
They really want this win because this would make sure they do not tie up with OG
Yeah, if they win,
go
no
into that
tiebreakers. That secures them top half of the bracket. This is a huge win for Virtus.pro.
Things delivers. IG. Last pick. Position. Don't really need a whole lot of other.
I think the next best thing would probably be like a solar crest, just because, again, no true strike. But I think the Vlad's is better in just the straight up 5v5 because you're just getting that passive benefit to everyone. And heck, even giving lifesteal to no one is a big deal. He hits super hard.
Thanks to that gem. Take away some of the vision.
What did IG do now, man? That was a total disaster.
I mean, you just turtle, right?
I think you have to.
Turtle, 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 and hope VP make a mistake.
Well, maybe turtle until you think next Roshan's going to be spawning, then go for a smoke play. See if you can find something. If you can't, then you might just have to sacrifice Rosh, because that one fight went from like almost no lead for either team to a 10k lead for VP. That's like 2 full items in gold.
Virtus.pro have backed up, gone for a 4-man smoke here.
It's going to land.
Still going to chill out the scan successfully on the shrine. IG, maybe you should just stay up on that shrine, friends. They're going through the mid lane. Lil's in a great position for this this burrow. They get spotted. The smoke gets popped on Burning. He starts backing himself away. They still want to try this one. XXS looking for the initiation.
Oh,
They get blocked. Oh no, another initiation screwed out. Bubka does manage to get off a decent ultimate. Lil's going to be taken with the burrow, but Ramses comes in from the other side with a vacuum wall, but he's getting stunned up. OP's actually taking him down with the defuse blade. He doesn't have Warcry either, so he's taking a lot of damage from that. It's just a one-on-one man fight now, made 2v2 as Bubka as well as Solo join the fight. They get back to the shrine though. Ramses healing up underneath the shrine will win that one. It's unfair fight, but he wins it anyway. An IG call it. GG. Virtus.pro will tie out this series and avoid that dangerous tiebreaker against OG.
Oh my god, those last 2 fights from Invictus Gaming, like, you have to feel for them. The first fight, Bottom starts off by the Clockwork hooking his own teammate.
Yep.
Then they get double stunned into a 3-man vac wall Sven combination. Like, that fight was over within a second. And then, because of that team fight win, subsequently getting the 2 sets of racks, the Sven has a Lincoln's. So the next fight, when the Batrider's assuming, oh, okay, I got this free lasso on the Sven, this is sick. He didn't click on the Sven first, so we didn't know he had Lincoln's cap. So we just threw it right in. You can see VP kind of smiling here, a little bit of relief, knowing that, hey, we just secured ourselves a spot in the upper bracket.
I mean, who would have imagined that you could have been sitting there as Virtus.pro and a tiebreaker against OG? Like, at the start of the tournament, a tiebreaker against OG for potentially going into lower bracket.
Yeah, that's
pretty crazy.
That's a terrifying place to be.
So, Virtus.pro, they secure their upper bracket. Bravo, gentlemen. And that is it for the day. We have no tiebreakers. Somehow we went through this group stage and avoided all the tiebreakers. So, we are now set for the main event. Thank you very much for watching. Capitalist, joined by Draskell. We'll see you guys in Seattle.
And we're still hanging out in Seattle as well. Capitalist and Draskell guiding you through the final game there. And that is the final game of TI7 groups. No tiebreakers by some strange stroke of whatever mystical powers are at work here. There is not a single tiebreaker to be going down in Group B or over in Group A, which was worked out just a little earlier on in the day. I'm your host, Machine, and I have been for this group stage. And we're now joined by, once again, my panel. We have PyCat, CCNC, and Blitz to just go ahead and kind of put a bow on it and understand exactly what this means for everyone involved. Virtus.pro, Newbie, IG, all are going to be in that upper bracket. And that scary lower bracket, that fate has been sealed for OG. We'll be discussing all of that, but first, guys, just turning our attention to that game for just a moment. Blitz, and not didn't always look like sunshine and rainbows for Virtus.pro there.
Yeah, but at the same time, we did call it.
You did. I mean, well, 10 minutes in, I think you called it.
Yeah, we said that we were pretty confident that VP were going to win the game. Just if you look at their draft, it's something that they're incredibly comfortable with. Somebody once told me that VP cannot lose with Sven Darkseer. If you're going to pull something out like that, it's going to be in a game where it'll determine an entire place setting, right? I think you go from bottom 4 to automatically top 12. So nothing to save at that point. That's their strategy. It looked like it was a little bit dicey in the beginning, but I felt pretty confident in their team fight.
So would you consider that like them kind of, to some degree, pulling out the card up from their sleeve a little bit, going back to what we know Virtus.pro feel in their mind? It sheds some light on what VP feel is the best, Quinn?
Yeah, I think so. I think, they're like, all right, back's kind of against the wall. Not really. They have one more cushion game, but they really don't want to have to play that game. So they say, Sven Darkseer, it's something we've had a lot of success with. They pull off these Darkseer vacuum combos very well. It's something we saw them do at Kiev with Slaughter, Disruptor, heroes like that. So, yeah, I think so.
Okay, and just kind of finally, Pike, out your thoughts on that game. There was one team fight I wanted to show you guys. It was 28 minutes in here in game 2, and that was kind of where things started to spiral a little bit more in VP's favor.
VP pushing into this tier 1.
Yeah, I think there was a very long time where it looked really though as if IG had control of the game. IG were off to a really good start, but then we see there that vacuum combo, and this fight looked for a short while like it could go either way, but then yeah, that vacuum into the Sven and all his damage, and even though this was I think it ends up being a 3-3 trade, it's favorable for VP because they were slightly behind in gold at that time, so they kind of got out ahead, and then we saw there were a few more of those vac stuns, vacuum into Sven's stun into his damage, and yeah, that really helped VP.
And VP are in the upper bracket. That means an awful lot. If you have missed the action or missed the multiple times we've reminded you as to why it's not a best-of-1 elimination game. That is the reality for the teams in the lowest. If we bring up the standings, it will put everything into perspective for you as we prepare ourselves for that main event. We say main event, we've lost 2 teams. 16 will be doing battle. I'm not going to say in Seattle. I did it anyway here for the International 7. Yes, indeed. Take it all in, folks. In Group A, Liquid, LGD, Evil Geniuses, and TNC will be in the upper bracket. In Group B, LFY, Newbie, IG, and Virtus.pro will have the very same fate. In the lower bracket, then playing those very scary elimination matches, we have IG Vitality, Secret, Empire, and Infamous. And towards Group B, OG is probably the biggest name standing out in that lower bracket. Outside of that, DC, a team that thrive through the qualifiers and continue to keep their head above water here. Cloud9 and Execration as well, keeping themselves in the tournament for now. Now, it is a for now, admit, and I think OG is the thread we should be pulling on here. In fact, there is a bit of a knowledge bomb to drop. This is very interesting when you do realize now OG have a best-of-1 ahead of them. However, heading into main event, it has been calculated that Fly and No-Tail have never won a best-of-3 in TI history. And you're probably thinking, what on earth are you talking about? That can't be right. And so did our panelists when that information was initially presented to us. But OG have never won a best-of-3 in TI history. Your face when you first heard that, Quinn, was just like, nah.
Yeah, it's pretty surprising. You consider those players' history and how successful they've been, but it just has never worked out. They've won best-of-1s, but the best-of-3s have never clicked.
Yeah, to specify Fly and No-Tail. I did say OG there, but Fly and No-Tail, the 2 individuals.
Technically, you're correct though too.
Well, yeah, I
OG
guess because the newcomers
never
as well.
had that.
Yeah, but I mean it's baffling. I mean, I guess in some weird, horrible twist of fate, they don't have to play a best of 3 just yet, Pycat.
Nope, not just yet.
Not
but
just yet.
If they win that BO1, they will have to play a best of 3 after that. And I mean, they have won 4 majors, but not a best of 3 at TI. So
such a crazy statistic.
it's really, really strange.
Really hard to kind of absorb, and I'm sure everyone at home, as well as the guys back at the hotel, will be trying to take that one in. OG themselves, of course, they're going to have an uphill struggle coming in after that day off, and that day off, I imagine, just from a kind of player's perspective. In fact, Pika, I think I'll choose you for this one, like my Pokemon. I choose you. What's happening in that day off in a player's mind when you make main event? Is there a sigh of relief, or is it more like, okay, knuckle down, balls to the wall? What is it? What's going on?
I think right now VP will feel like the initial, it will be like, whew, we did it.
Okay.
But then they will very quickly after, they will start thinking, okay, what is ahead of us now? How do we prepare for this? What are we going to do? Who will be our opponent? How do we prepare for them? And then you start looking at this opponent that you have because you have some time to prepare for this best of 3. And you start thinking, all right, are we going to, what are we going to do against what they do, and what do we want to do? And then you focus on that.
And you're talking about knowing their opponent. In case you were wondering, we are working on trying to get those brackets to you live on the show. It's not a guarantee by any means, but if you do stick around, you may very well know who your favorite team will be facing coming into Monday. That's when everything will be kicking off. Blitz, anything more to add to that? I mean, when you've been there very, very recently, big event, there's a day off between the groups and the main event. Is it, do you sit down and knuckle down, or is there a risk of overworking? Can you over-prepare? Did you give them a bit of freedom in that day off after a heavy group stage?
I think for the most part, we'll go over the glaring errors. If there are any common errors that kept popping up. We talked about it before. We once had this idea, like, there's not a whole lot that you can change in one day. If you have so many different problems, you're never going to be able to fix something in one day. Either you're prepared or you're not. But there are some stuff that you can go over in the replays. For example, one of our problems going into the TI quals is that we weren't very good at Roshan. And so we kind of narrowed it down to fixing that rather than addressing 15 different problems. Because if you only have one day, what can you really accomplish in that one day? Either they understand the concept, 5 people understand the concept, or they don't. So using that time as efficiently as possible, going over some of the larger scope mistakes, making sure that those are shored up, and hoping you buy yourself a little bit more time going through the event so that you can start to correct things over time is probably the better bet.
I think that's especially important in a TI like this, where there are so many teams that are all of very similar caliber. You know, you look at both sides of the upper bracket, and even some of the teams that aren't in the upper bracket. You know, you see OG not in the top 4 on each side. You look at all those teams, and those are teams that you need to prep for, teams that you need to have a good idea of how to play against. So I think, you know, like Blitz said, focusing on yourself, fixing any glaring issues is probably the best bet, because there are so many solid teams that you are going to have to play up against.
Absolutely. So it's a kind of a balance that has to be struck. And I like the idea, the mindset of you can't fix everything in a day. That's a reality.
You can't. I mean, it's kind of an overload of information.
Sure.
And sometimes when you try to do too much, you end up doing nothing. You just shoot yourself in the foot. And so better just, you know, you see, like you said, you see something, you look at the main thing, right? And then you try to fix that. And then as the days go by, if you do well in that first game, then you might buy yourself some more time. And then maybe you can end up, maybe we can do this. Or maybe you had a good game and you feel better and you're like, all right, you know. And then you kind of start working on those problems as you go by. That's what we've seen EG do in many tournaments. We see them usually in the beginning of a tournament. They don't do so well. And then they're like, okay, guys, what is it? What is going wrong? They fix something, and then they kind of get the ball rolling, and then they do really well.
Fantastic. Well, I don't want us to be blabbing on for too long. I think we've talked about Dota for 4 days, 6 a.m. till 8 a.m. 8 p.m., I should correct myself. Otherwise, we'd have the labour laws after us. It has been an absolute blast, and we are still working on getting those brackets for you. But why don't we have a little bit of fun to end our group stage? Because this has been so much fun. It's been a pleasure sharing the panel with you. Now, I don't know where I put them, so I had a little idea. I want to play a game called Over or Under. And the idea is I'm going to throw something at you. It's, you know, maybe it's going to be Dota, maybe it's not. And you guys are all going to turn your cards at the same time and tell me if it's under or overrated. Sound good?
Sounds good.
You know, all these people on Reddit that say this guy's such a game show host, I hate him. I'm really just giving it exactly what they want. There you go. Cards.
Oh, we're getting, okay, 2 each.
And then, there you go. Let's see if I can get it. Okay, cool. So let's do a practice run first of all. Okay, machine as a host. You see, now you're doing it right. You've got it. You got it in one. I didn't quite catch what I'm being told, so I guess I'll just keep throwing questions at you. This is another one. Of course, this is very serious stuff. Can you turn the cards around? I want to, you know, I'd like an element of surprise for everyone. How about cucumber? Yeah, I know. Oh, look at those faces. They're really working. Overrated. Cucumber is overrated. Who rates cucumber, Quinn?
I don't know, but anyone who likes it overrates it.
Wait, you don't like cucumber at all? This is serious. Dude, you know it's like 90% water. Is it 90% water or something ridiculous?
Why not just
95% water.
95% water?
95% water.
So if you just laid down loads of cucumbers and walked on them, would you be 95% Jesus Christ?
I don't know if it works like that.
No?
It's a great hydrator, thoady
Dude, I told you I'm really good at maths. Okay, let's do it. Let's throw a Dota one at you. You ready? Because I've got such expansive Dota knowledge. You ready for this?
Let's go.
Here it comes. Monkey King. Pre-nerf.
Pre-nerf?
Well, I don't even know. How do you?
I'm joking.
How do you even do that?
Okay, current Monkey King that we saw Baboka bouncing around the trees in. What are we saying? Interesting. Okay, we'll start with you, Will. Why on earth is
the current Monkey King?
Yeah, current
That's what
Monkey
we're talking
King
about, right?
overrated?
Yeah.
Man, I've seen it played so many times as a carry. I've been so underwhelmed. Like, I think this hero, it's just, there are better heroes out there. It dies really quickly. It has no escape mechanism. I just saw it lose a game right now that could have kicked VP into a best of one with OG. I'm surprised that they went with underrated.
Dude, Quinn, jump in.
I think it can be like sort of a replacement Ursa against some like melee heroes in lane. You leave the Monkey King alone and you go do stuff around the map.
Yeah, but Ursa has a cool ulti.
But the
and
thing
he
is,
can
Monkey
Roshan.
King
dude,
has-
how does Monkey King not have one of the coolest
Yeah.
ults? That thing is
It lags your
Plus,
game.
he can turn into a banana. He can turn into a lot of things. He can snipe curse. And the thing is, he can be played in many positions. He's played as a mid, he's a carry, I don't know, he's some support.
Ursa's not
anything.
ambiguous.
Oh, he was so great in that last game. You guys are completely right. Completely changed my mind.
One game. Are you using one game
One
as an
game.
example?
What's
for
it?
an
What,
entire
where's
hero?
Nahaz when I need him? Stats me up.
Yeah, you just looked at the screen as if Nahaz is going to go, absolutely will, and just appear from behind you.
Monet beat Cloud9 with it.
There you go.
A lot of people beat Cloud9 with a lot of things. Like that's not strengthening your argument.
They're still here, still swinging. That's what they're going to do at their day off. They're just going to watch some sweet animes. Pyken, I've got another one for all of us. You didn't get to defend your argument, though. Do you got anything to add to the...
No, I mean, my argument is just,
It's obvious.
he can do many things, plus he looks really cool.
And he's not used that often. I mean,
Yeah,
how
he's not
often- how
used that
do you see
often
Monkey
right now.
King?
I feel like we saw him a couple times in this tournament, and that's the thing. We saw him in a lot of different positions. And that's why I think he's underrated.
So this is an interesting one, just because we're on heroes. One more hero for you. Now, what do we make of Batrider? Because we've talked about him an awful lot throughout this 4-day event. Talking past, present, and all of you. Oh, Quinn first to commit. That's 3. Okay, overrated across the board. He has been very, very popular. LFY used him to get 13-0, and yet you consider him overrated. Who do I start with here? Quinn, let's start with you. Batrider, why do you consider him overrated?
Because I think when a hero is first phase, like practically every single game, you can't really say he's underrated because you can't prioritize him any higher. So he would have to be a tad underrated or overrated. Sorry.
Logic stands. Will, you want to add to this argument?
No, I completely agree. Plus, we're seeing more and more teams. I think when it first came out and it was so popular, a bit of teams were caught off guard. And at that point, it was underrated. But now teams are just picking it without any regard. They're
Just considered safe.
It's just a hero, yeah.
Yeah.
And I think in that regard, it's overrated.
Overrated. Do you know what else is underrated? The brackets. Ooh, drum roll, please,
Wait.
ladies and gentlemen.
They got to choose their teams, right?
Explain it, Will, before we show them if necessary. Oh, here they come. Bracket overview for TI7. This is it. This could be the determining factor on your TI7 champion. It's now on your screens. Take it all in. Liquid will be playing versus IG. Newbie will meet the Evil Geniuses in the upper bracket. LFY will meet TNC. You get LGD versus Virtus.pro. And now the brutal, the cutthroat games of Dota, a best of one, the loser of which will be forced to watch from the stands as the rest of the tournament transpires. We have Secret taking on Execration. Cloud9 versus Empire. OG will be meeting Infamous, and IGV versus DC.
Okay, my first question is, if TNC lose to LFY and OG win, how soon can OG play against TNC?
Do the brackets correspond?
Because if they do, right? The
I see
lower
where you're-
part
I see where
ends
you're
up
going
in the
with
bottom
this.
there, right?
I think if TNC loses and OG wins, they would play the next game, right?
Oh.
It looks like that.
Are you kidding? Especially when we just dropped that knowledge bomb about flying no tail. Yes. And last TI. Yes. Is that, we haven't got confirmation on that, but that could be unbelievable.
I'd imagine that's how it works, right?
Yeah, that's safe to say. I mean, that's safe to assume. So you're telling me that Fly and No Tail have not won a single best of 3 in TI history. OG have won 4 out of 5 Valve majors. They can't seem to close a TI. Last TI, they met TNC and were eliminated. Didn't get the chance to proceed and get that TI victory they hunger for. And now, should they want to do it now, they have to break 2 records in 1. 2 monkeys on their back in 1.
Yes. And maybe, will there be a Monkey King in that series?
Well,
don't know that.
he's underrated.
For sure.
It was fun. I enjoyed that. Well, if everything goes to crap, I can just start doing game shows from my living room. I'm up for
You'd
it.
be great.
Thanks, man. Appreciate that. Anything else that stands out then, Will, as you do kind of breathe it all in? I can see you frowning. You look very, very pained. What's wrong?
It's
Come on,
This
think out
is
loud with us.
such a rough TI. Like, that's going to, so newbie EG is a first round matchup. That's absolutely bonkers to me. On top of that, if things go as planned, which should, then you, in all likelihood, have Liquid EG in the round right after that. 2 of the tournament favorites. One of them is going to be sent to the lower bracket off. Like, But I look at the rest of the field, so I imagine that Liquid chose IG.
Yeah.
And I was thinking to myself, why would you ever choose IG? And then you look at the rest of who they had as an option, and it's not like it was any easier. Same with LFY taking TNC. There's no real... What did you really win? Your prize is an incredibly hard opponent, but I guess this is TI.
Yeah, that's the upper bracket.
I mean, look at
That
the upper
works.
bracket. I mean, there isn't a lesser of the evils, really, is it? I mean, you've been saying this since day one, really, Quinn, haven't you? Are you surprised?
It's brutal. You
Yeah.
know, I think if you look at the brackets, I think this is a very accurate representation of the teams. I think this is how a lot of people expected the teams to go down, minus OG maybe being in the lower bracket. I think you look at these teams, and I think they are seeded correctly. But like Blitz said, you look at them, and it's such a hard.
It's absurd.
It's incredible.
And in terms of those dark horses in that lower bracket, the group stage is done. Everything that happened now, your slate is wiped clean. You just have to work from the position you've been given.
Also, we do have 3 former TI champions in the lower bracket and 3 in the upper bracket.
Just dropping these knowledge bombs.
Yeah,
I
man.
love it. Keep them coming.
Yeah,
So how many? Hang on. How many people could go for that second TI win?
6 people.
6.
We got from Secret, we have Puppy. From Cloud9, there is AUI.
Yeah.
From OG, there's S4. And in the upper bracket, we have, actually, in that first series between EG and Newbie, there's 3 of them. And there's Faith, there's Sumail, and Universe.
Damn. There is so much to look forward to coming into that main event. I think you've kind of said it all, guys. I don't think we should keep the lovely people at home waiting too much longer. They are just going to go ahead and try and work out what to do with the day off. They're not going to have any Dota. What do you do when you haven't got Dota? Play Dota. There it is. Okay.
Practice
Don't panic. You can play Dota tomorrow because there will not be any TI. In fact, everything is going to be set up because this arena is taking shape, guys. You've been walking through it. You've seen the development. It's sexy, right?
It
Well,
is.
Pretty sick.
It's gorgeous. Yeah. We're underwater this year. Oh, there it is. Can we get a shot of that, please? Because this has been a wild ride. CCNC, Reddit heartthrob, and all-round nice guy, and you truly are. It's been an absolute pleasure, Quinn. How has your first panel been hanging out with us, guys?
It's been a blast. It's really cool to be here. The environment is amazing. Like you said, getting to see like everything get developed,
Right.
and as everything comes together, it's a very, very cool environment, and it builds a lot of hype for what an amazing tournament this is going to be.
And you also just kind of realize how many people are involved in something like this, PyCat. Like, it's not just the 5 people that walk out and play the Dota.
No, man, there's a lot of people. I want to give we have a lot of the crew here. Thanks to you guys. You've been great. To our, everyone who's helped us here.
Yeah, we don't look this pretty in the mornings.
No, we don't.
No, we don't. Much love to everybody that has made this possible. Blitz, of course, for last minute making his flight over here and joining us. Otherwise, we would have been out your beautiful stories. We've learned a lot.
Yeah, wouldn't have missed this for the world. It honestly just gets better. Every single TI, first one I ever went to as a spectator, dreamed about working at something like this. So it's been an absolute pleasure to be here.
And now you have, of course, the luxury of getting to be at another TI.
Yeah, just hang out.
What's your plan? What's your plan
Hang
of
out.
action? Find a nice comfy seat, get some snacks, and
I always watch it in the spectator seats. I just get a hoodie on and I just watch games.
Dude, it is. I always have the same mindset. Like, you can't just sit there and watch the TV. If it's there, a couple of meters away, you'd be an idiot not to.
of course.
Take full advantage of it. So I guess that's it from all of us. You'll be seeing myself and the other guys around, either if you're coming to the Key Arena or maybe even online somewhere as well. For now, though, I think we say goodbye. It has been my honor and pleasure to be a part here of TI7 group stages. And on Monday, we will see you as the main event kicks off, and we'll get closer to finding a champion.